Good evening, Star Wars fanatics. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Ben, and you've reached the Fanatics of Film. We're going to go over The Last Jedi. I was trying to hold out, but I ended up getting it, and anyway, I'm here with my good cohorts.
Hey, this is Neil. Dive a little deeper into the discussion.
All three, cutting him off, here together. We're here to bring it to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. But we're just going to try to go through and find some of the good stuff. Okay, and so this is our crazy moment that everybody went nuts for. It's like sorry, Lucasfilm, you missed your chance. You had your chance to allow Leia to have an on-screen death. We will not see Leia have an on-screen death at all ever again, apparently, according to what they said. I mean, we'll see it in the crawl. We're gonna see Leia's death in the crawl. It'll say General. Yeah, we'll never say princess. They're never gonna use the word princess anymore because that is demeaning. But apparently, so it'll be General Leia was killed in the battle of so and so, in whatever, and that's all we'll get. And it's like this was a chance we had to see her die. We could have anyway. That's just my rant about it. I just think they had the chance to let Leia die, and instead, I mean, they could have probably They probably could have taken 2 days and reshot the scene so that she. You know what I mean? So that she's not even in the movie anyway. She's barely in the movie. She's in a coma half this time afterwards. So it's pointless having her come back. But that's just my rant.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about that. Sorry, go ahead, Alex. Yeah, I guess they could have taken her out.
Well, because she passed away after they had finished principal photography.
Right, which they could have re-edited. I mean, I guess it would have taken some more shots and
2 days. Easy.
The other discussions as far as like the mutiny and Poe, getting overtaken on the bridge, and I mean, there's some scenes of her basically having the discussion with Poe on the escape pods when they're flying off to the mining planet, but yeah, I mean, I guess they certainly could have taken a different direction.
Silly.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
Well, I have one for the next.
Okay,
yeah.
And I didn't get any of the other ones because they just looked crappy on screen. So this was the best one because it's close. It's close to. It's when she's gonna get the door open and they all don't get sucked out into space, which is ridiculous.
Pretty much what I was gonna say is that dude, they opened the door, didn't get sucked out in space. She's so stupid. She's in the same room and everybody else got blown to pieces. There's no body parts floating around in space. It's like rubble, but then there's Leia. And she's floating around, and then all of a sudden, she can use the Force. Yeah.
Maybe if she'd flown around and saved a few people, that would have been cool.
Everybody says this all the time. It was if she grabbed Admiral Akbar, I think everybody would have forgiven the whole. Right. I'm Leia.
Or grabbed onto the door and just started pulling people in with her, or just turn around. This is actually a pretty hilarious shot because it makes me want to just Photoshop somebody over here getting choked out. Just going.
There's the next meme. Yeah. Okay, Star Wars memes, if you're watching, there you go.
There you go.
That's great. That is so great.
It's great how we can make this movie so much better in retrospect.
Oh my gosh, so ridiculous. Yeah, and once again, everybody should have got sucked out. So the vegetarian Chewbacca scene. This is the scene where the porgs make him feel guilty enough to not eat one of them. Sorry, people, you got Chewie wrong. Sorry, Lucasfilm, you screwed up. Good job on screwing up Chewbacca, one of the greatest characters of all time. Good job.
The funny thing is, I didn't even think that when I saw it. I thought the porg wanted food. I thought he was begging for table scraps. I'm serious. And the whole time I was like, man, they want to eat one of their own. It's like a chicken. Chickens eat chicken wings and stuff. If you feed chicken, they'll eat it. So that's literally what I thought. Yeah. And then he was like, oh, no, it's the whole vegan thing. And it's like, oh.
They're shaming. They're shaming Chewie.
Yeah,
they're basically carnivore shaming him. Is that a thing yet?
Yeah, that's stupid. It is.
No, I'm fine with being a vegan and stuff like that, but I mean, it's just a natural,
Well, it's Chewbacca.
A reality of life that things eat meat. Life feeds on life. That's the way it is.
The problem is that it's Chewbacca. Chewbacca rips people's arms out of their sockets when they lose.
Right.
So
I suppose if he just would have eaten them raw to begin with, then it wouldn't have been a problem.
the dice.
Maybe it was 10,000. It certainly wasn't 100,000.
Okay, so did you guys like the this moment where Luke's just sitting in the Falcon, and he's just kind of sulking, and R2 wakes up, and that's all nice and fine and dandy. He's like, R2, it's this great reunion minute, but then in order to convince Luke that to come and help, he plays Leia's R2 plays the old Leia, you're Obi-Wan, you're my only hope type of thing. And Luke says it's a cheap move. I think the whole scene was a cheap move. That's just my opinion. Because it's like, Ryan Johnson's like, oh, what can I do to bring everybody back to the original trilogy? I'll just take literally a recording from... Anyway, I just didn't like it. I wasn't a fan.
I didn't think it was a cheap move in the sense of, like, this seemed to me like a genuine moment between two characters,
Yeah.
This actually seemed like, hey, there should be that moment. There should have been something like that with Luke and Chewie,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be,
you're right.
that much of a callback or anything, but something that just shows you, like, that they're sharing something or they're catching up or...
Yeah.
It's like, what's the first thing you would do if, you'd seen your best friend or one of your, one of the best buddies you had, you haven't seen him for, 12, 15 years, something like that.
Really what bugs me is we don't even see what happens to R2 after. Shows the hologram.
Yeah, you're right. He kind of just disappears.
R2 just disappears. R2 was a huge...
R2
was in every single movie up until this point. Force Awakens and Last Jedi has literally swept him under the rug. Under the rug. We see him for a moment or two in The Last Jedi, and we don't even know what happens.
So is this really the last... I couldn't even... I totally spaced that. So this is the last scene we see him in.
Is he not in the battle? In the end?
No.
Do we not see him, like...
No,
because obviously he's not on a ship.
He's just on the Falcon.
Luke.
I could have sworn you see him on the Falcon with Chewie. Don't you see him in the...
Or at least when they send Rey off into that little pod.
Oh, well.
Wow, good point, Alex. I don't...
Good job, Lucasfilm. Good job again. Yeah, just gotta keep congratulating you. Good job.
Yeah, keeping it optimistic over here.
So, I'm not a fan of Holdo's, what is it, motivational speech here. Not a fan. Wasn't very good. The downtrodden and oppressed know our symbol.
Yet they don't respond to our calls.
Yeah, just nobody cares at all. Yeah.
Nice try, but yeah.
But honestly, I think the reason why they didn't respond is because of in the book Bloodline, for all of those canon junkies like I am, in Bloodline, this takes place about 5 years before The Force Awakens. That's when the rest of the galaxy finds out that Princess Leia is related to Darth Vader. It's like when it's like the outer, and it's like the way everybody finds out is all messed up, and it's like one of Leia's competitors. Anyway, it's crazy. But apparently that's probably, at least that's what I speculated. That's the reason why nobody answered the call, was because they knew Leia's call signal, and everybody was still judging her because she was related to Darth Vader.
Interesting.
But whatever.
Well, and I suppose, yeah, go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah, that's just part of awesome canon, man. There's some great canon out there, like any of this stuff that if you get a chance, check out Bloodline. It's a great book by Claudia Gray. It's all the stuff setting up, and like she's trying to get a hold of Luke and Han, and she gets a hold of Han because he's doing some racing and stuff, but Han can't even find Luke and Kylo. So it's like Luke and Kylo are like away by themselves, and so it's like they can't even. But it's like they try contacting him. It's like they're trying to get him on the phone. They can't get him, and it's just a crazy thing. So it's like somewhere in between is when that's 5 years. That's the scenes that we see of Luke, going into Kylo's tent, and
actually, and you had a good point, Alex. Man, that would have explained so much if Luke had been there, somehow gotten abandoned or marooned. Like he, after losing Kylo, instead of going directly back to Leia, okay, so he felt some shame or felt that, he needed to somehow repair these things or find out a better way to be a Jedi instead of doing the old ways. you know, finding the tree, finding the books, you know, learning something new, getting so obsessed that he kind of loses track of how to get home, you know, or maybe like somehow, you know, his ship goes into disrepair or something like that while he's getting so obsessed with learning these new techniques or something like that, where then he accidentally maroons himself. Maybe he only has enough energy to shoot, you know, R2 out into the... I don't know, but so many lost opportunities I feel like we've just kind of stumbled upon.
So this is the scene where they turn our beloved new hero, Poe Dameron, into a sexist jerk. He says, that's Admiral Holdo. He's basically judging her for being a woman in this scene. It's really stupid. Here's Rose being a jerk back at the escape pods.
I said it earlier, and you guys are all gonna hate it, but I wish they would have kept the cute one.
It's fine. I
had to say it.
All right, so
they're both cute, but I mean, yeah, it's...
Yes, I'll agree.
And Maz Kanata gets robbed here, just of like, she's kind of a really cool character in The Force Awakens. Here, they turn her into kind of just like this like weird sex fiend who's like just out. So just, well, because she's just like, oh, you got Master Codebreaker, and that's not all he breaks. He broke me in half the other day. Just like totally just anyway. And then, you know, apparently she's got some droid floating and filming her while she's talking.
While she's fighting, dude, she's like in the middle of a battle, like.
On a jetpack.
And it's like some perk is going on, like, hey, Skype a friend, like in the middle of battle. She's just like blasting some stormtroopers. Sorry, gotta go. Like Jimmy Neutron out of there. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron.
Get the Master Codebreaker. Master Codebreaker. Anyway, sorry.
Oh wait, he left some code behind right here. I think I better clean this up.
So this is kind of interesting. A lot of people had problems. I did have a problem with Luke meditating too hard and then dying. This is kind of a weird spot where Kylo does point out. He says, "You're not doing," because this is the Force Skype moment, and Kylo's like, "You're not doing this. The effort would kill you." He's talking to Rey, and he's realizing that it's not him or Rey that's doing it. So he's probably, it seems like he's on to Snoke or whatever. But the point is here is that it's pointing out that you can, by projecting or by using the Force over a large long distance, that you could die. So
it's almost like this kind of harkens to what Professor X does in Cerebro. When he basically puts on his big old helmet and heightens his awareness of everybody else in the world and how he tracks down mutants around the place.
Right.
He basically pulls them in.
Right.
And is able to communicate with them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they seem to be using the Force for in this. But I can see it, but I don't know how it would strain you to the point of killing you.
Well, and we see a little bit of a Sidious in Episode 3, how he can sense Vader, and he's on Coruscant, and Vader's on Mustafar, and he knows he senses something, but it must be to do with connecting two people that are not the single entity, maybe causing the stress. I don't know. I get what Ben's saying though.
I think that has been something when you have two Force wielders, two people who are strong in the Force. That's a different story. I don't know. We have no idea. Yeah. Everything's out the window anyway. So
I actually like this direction though, as far as it goes. You like
the Force Skype, you're saying?
Yeah, I did like the Force Skype. I liked it as an expansion of the Force powers. That's what I was really hoping for.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was excited that they would expand on is just some new techniques, and this kind of goes back again to just Luke, combining dark and light within himself, and then expanding into.
Revan.
Yeah, just something that shows new abilities, and hopefully better directions.
Yeah. All right, trying to move on. Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. Hopefully, so I want you to enlighten us a little bit on this, Alex. You know about this little circular symbol in the middle of this room here. By the way, the art direction is awesome in this scene. I do actually love this cave. It's beautiful. But yeah, what do you think of? Let's go back to this. I'm actually gonna get a better this a better image of it. What do you tell us about this?
A lot of it is from Star Wars Newsnet. I watch a lot of that, or Star Wars Newsnet and Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory on YouTube. I watch a lot of that. Dude, he's awesome. But really, it's what we think is maybe a depiction of the first Jedi, the light and the dark. Some people think it was Snoke, and that I don't know if I buy into that, but like a yin yang kind of thing. The first Jedi having the light and the dark. Some people think maybe it was like a pair of brothers were the first Jedi, or if you believe in the religious part, or I'm sorry, I forgot what they're called in Clone Wars and Rebels. How we have the son, the father, and the daughter, the light and the dark. Some people are like, oh, what if it's the daughter and the son, but we don't see the father? It's supposed to be representing the light and the dark.
Isn't there something an image on this that looks like Snoke, or what part?
It kind of looks like. I mean, you can kind of see in this image right here. It almost looks like Snoke's head, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or someone sitting cross-legged and then having the two opposing.
Again, I don't think that's what it is, but some people.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like it would be too good to be true, probably.
Well, maybe not Snoke, but it definitely looks like a particular preacher or somebody from his race.
Okay.
I suppose that could be.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a whole planet full of Snokes. So this is kind of a funny thing. This is the energy between all things. This is a great moment in their first lesson. The first lesson they have is actually a fantastic lesson. If anyone boils, like Luke is an awesome teacher here. I wrote this out just real quick. Like this part is actually really good, except for the stupid joke with the leaf. That was, I guess that was actually funny for a moment. But the Force isn't about lifting rocks. It's the energy field between all things, the tension, the balance that binds the universe together. Reach out, breathe, just breathe. Reach out with your feelings. Do you see? No, what do you see? The island. And she says, the island, life, death, and decay that feeds new life. Warmth, cold, peace, violence, and between it all, Luke says, balance, energy, and inside you. And then she, oh my gosh, it's inside me. So that was just like, I thought that was like awesome. But then again, it just comes back to this weird thing where Luke has to keep saying, but it does, of course, it's an important thing to recognize. That Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. To say that if the Jedi die, the light dies with them is vanity. Can you feel that? So he's just basically saying that the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. I personally don't think the Jedi ever thought the Force belonged to them. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing where he's like having this possession thing with the Jedi having to possess the Force. I don't think that it did. I never got that from the prequels. I never got that the Jedi were feeling that they felt like they had owned the Force.
Yeah, they're more of the guardians of it.
Yeah, and that's where I don't agree with this whole statement.
Two, I was gonna say, from the prequels, I don't think any of the Jedi's really ever said that they own the Force.
I know.
Right? So that the belongs to the Jedi. And also what I thought when he said that if the Jedi die, the light dies with them. Well, in I think Empire Strikes Back, after Luke leaves Dagobah and Ben and Luke are talking to each other, he's like, that boy's our only hope, assuming he's going to die. And Yoda's like, no, there is another. Like, I don't know. So I guess he's assuming even if Luke would have died, there's still, even though Leia wasn't a Jedi, there's still the light. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
That was more in reference, I think, to just the battle that they were facing at that particular moment in Empire. The battle against the Emperor and the battle against Darth. That she was going to be the other one that could possibly turn the tides or return balance to what's going on. But I don't. Yeah, this is kind of a funky sentence because it is just something. Again, it just all of a sudden, I started to realize how broken Luke is, rather than, him actually trying to teach her anything or.
Yeah, the way that Ryan directed him was for his character to do this, or just like none of this stuff, none of this, the movement up, movement down, all this. Right. It's just it's like always like hit a wall and go somewhere else completely different. So it is what it is. It's just weird. And then of course, she says dark, and then she does that whole thing where she's like, crazy powerful, which is, I guess it's okay, I guess. And first thing Luke says is you went straight to the dark, and you didn't even stop it. You didn't stop yourself. Whatever. It scares me now. All these things. I don't know.
Which
That's
is like, why would she? I mean, why would she? She knows
Yeah.
nothing. This is her first training lesson. Why would she know to do anything else?
right. You're right.
It's like smacking a kid for doing what they naturally do because they're curious, and you're like,
Yeah.
you don't just smack and beat the crap out of them. You let them know what they're doing. You basically, make them aware of what's going on, and then teach around it. As soon as you smack it, or like Luke, I mean, he's basically freaking out on her and showing her just, it's just
It's really weird.
it's poor teaching.
So he was a great teacher at first. Now he sucks. I love Luke. I love you, Luke. I love you, Mark Hamill.
I love
it
you
just the character is just warped here. Okay. So we're gonna skip all of Canto Bight. We're not even gonna talk about the only thing that I wanted to bring up really quick is that the opening scene to Canto Bight is actually inspired by a really great film called Wings, and this was in 1927, I believe. And I'm gonna insert this. It's like a 10-second clip of this Wings film, and it's just a beautiful shot of tables and kind of zoom in and everything. It was a groundbreaking thing and won Academy Awards for that film called Wings in 1927. So whatever. But yeah, we're gonna skip all of Canto Bight. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, we're skipping all of that. So
It is skippable.
And so this is right before lesson 2. We're coming up on where Luke is just watching Rey train with a lightsaber. I guess that was okay, but it's set to this emotional music with John Williams, and so I guess we accept it and it's fine. And Rey's already awesome with his staff and all these things, so I guess Luke doesn't need to show her anything about lightsaber training, which is fine, I guess. I wouldn't have minded seeing them train a little bit with sticks or staffs or something. I don't know.
I mean, as somebody, these guys don't have kids, but
Yeah.
I take a pretty invested interest in kids, or my kid, particularly. So even if I don't have something to interject always, I'll try to. If I say if I were Luke and I were my kid and she was wielding a lightsaber, I'd at least go up there and comment and say, hey, that's pretty great, and maybe try this, or here's a technique that I used, or here's something that Yoda taught me once, or here's something I got from other Jedi Masters, or something going to connect her abilities, what she knows with the staff, with the lineage of the other Jedis that have come before. Something that connects her to what's happening. But just watching her is cool too.
And it would have been a good opportunity to kind of show that, like, Luke maybe he's broken, but that he really still is the Jedi Master we hoped.
Right.
Showing her some gnarly techniques and then immediately being like, but you can't use that. Or, I don't know, and that would be cool. They'd be congruent with how he was acting, but we'd still see some cool stuff. Yeah.
So this is kind of another funny thing. Here we are onto lesson 2. And it starts off really good, I guess. Now that they are extinct, they are all the Jedi are romanticized, deified. Strip away the myth and look at their deeds. And I guess he's blaming completely, and everybody's like, yeah, he's right. And I've talked to so many people about this, like, yeah, he's right. The fall of the Republic and into the Empire was the Jedi's fault. No, it wasn't. It was the Sith's fault. The Sith did it. It's not the Jedi's fault. The Jedi tried to do what they did and they got annihilated. It's not their fault. They didn't see... Anyway, I'm sorry. I will fight anyone... I'm not going to fight people. I'm going to argue with people on this. I just really feel like it's weird that he blames the Jedi for their follies here. And just saying, at the height of their powers, they allowed Darth Sidious to rise, create the Empire, and wipe them out. It was a Jedi who trained Darth Vader. I mean, I get all that stuff, but it doesn't mean that it was their fault. And I think he really is pinning it on them, like saying it's all the Jedi, it's all their fault.
And he's talking crap on Ben.
Yeah,
he's literally that's was exactly what I thought.
Really
He's
does.
like, even a Jedi trained Ben, and it's like, didn't you get trained by the same guy who trained your father?
Yeah. I mean, he's pointing out principles, and I think that's the important thing to recognize here and embrace or reject.
Yes.
I mean, I choose to reject it because, I mean, I embrace everything Luke says as an important thing to think about. However, I don't agree with blaming the Jedi for the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. That is not the Jedi. I mean, remember Mace Windu just like getting thrown out of the. You know, it's like he tried so hard.
Well, it's not even that. He's taken this to a point that didn't really. You know, he's romanticizing the failure of them too,
right,
in this fashion because they did not go that far. He's talking about hypocrisy and hubris, and that's just not the case. You know, the failure of the Jedi is just to not recognize the Sith. I mean, I would just say just flat ignorance. You know, the fact, and you could say like as many.
They were
things
kept
as, like,
hidden in.
Right.
Old
like
legends, they were kept hidden in legends.
Sidious had some sort of cloak over his own force powers, and he was able to block it from Yoda and the other, which is pretty amazing because he would have to block it from every force-sensitive being, which is kind of crazy.
And they explained that in Plagueis, by the way. They explained that detail
of
that,
which is.
And we're gonna get into that in another video, but that's really amazing. It's an amazing thing how they do it, and it's explained really well. So
the one point that I just wanted to make here, and the thing that irritates me about this, and especially in Luke's character, is this basically just puts him in the same place he was in A New Hope. It just basically shows outside of Luke that he hasn't grown up at all.
Right.
He's basically just being a whiny little bitch. You know, he's just like, yeah, they won't let me go to Toshi Station, and I just can't hang out with anybody else. And those guys won't let me play, and they didn't do right anyway.
He's shifting blame. Shifting blame in this situation. So it's really weird. And I mean, I get it. You know, you want to blame somebody, but anyway.
I don't want to blame anybody.
I mean, that's what he's trying to do, and that's what this film is trying to achieve apparently in this moment. Okay, and I sum it up as he's essentially blaming the Jedi for the existence of evil and greed. No, I don't think so. Okay, yeah, and it's once again something Luke would never say because I was Luke Skywalker, I was a Jedi. How is that anything like Luke that we know? I just don't. Because he says, I mean, the last time we saw him say that, he was saying it to the Emperor, and he was like, "I'm sorry, Your Highness, you have failed. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me." He says that, and it's like he's saying, you know,
well, yeah, and that whole
I was a Jedi. He's so ashamed of him. Anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That whole story arc of Luke from New Hope all the way up through Return of the Jedi, basically kind of gets flipped on its head here.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of reverts to, you know, whatever beginning angst he had.
And again, even if we just had a little bit more than, oh, my prized pupil betrayed me, and now I don't. And there's a lot of comments I've seen that are like, you don't know what can make people depressed and blah blah blah. But I'm with Ben. Like, if you face the Emperor against the Emperor and your father, and like stood up, you handled it, and you brought him back to the light, like. It feels like there should have been something else that pushed Luke.
The only thing that I could think of was just him, you know, it being Leia's son, Leia and Han's son. But still, you know, it still doesn't quite equate, you know.
So, and then this is I'm sorry, trying to line up our images here for a second. So this is just kind of funny. It's just funny seeing her like so powerful and crazy, and then she's just like you were saying before, she's like a child. It's energy between all things, and then she's like, but what is it really? What is it? I don't know. It's just kind of a funny moment. But here we are in the weird, awkward moment that everybody loves with Kylo with his shirt off. Everybody loves this one. Anybody got anything to say about that?
Ben Swolo.
I think that is a good one. One of my favorite memes was watching a cartoon of Luke milking Ben's boobies. As if he were a sea cow. You know, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I actually did that other one too. So this is once again Kylo saying that, you know, kill it if you have to, kill these things, kill this, kill the past, kill it. And I get that. We all get that, Ryan. We all got that, you know, you're saying you want us to kill the past. However, all of us have been buying these books about the past and reading them. That is the major problem that you are doing, that you're creating here. You're telling us to build up, build up, build up on all this history that we're reading about. We're reading about all these stories, but then you're asking us to literally burn it all, to throw it away. That is the major problem here. It's a complete and total paradoxical storytelling. Anyone?
You gotta actually have a really good point. All the comics coming out, all the like, there's a lot of content coming out that's filling in all the gaps, and I think it's awesome. But it's kind of bottlenecking. It's almost like, for reals, we are now gonna we'll fill the bubble of Lucas Star Wars. We're gonna fill it. And then Disney's it's gonna pop, and Disney's gonna move on
well, it's already
to Ryan
popped.
Yeah, right. Ryan Johnson's new trilogy, and then after episode 9, we're gonna have Ryan Johnson's and whatever else,
Han Solo
like
too.
Han Solo. Yeah.